Bill's Breakdown is one of our newest channels here at Chat Sports. And you may be wondering, how can we get even more Bills content? Well, it's pretty simple, folks. Here's the formula. More subscribers means more videos. So if you guys would like us to talk Buffalo Bills over the weekend, all we need you to do is subscribe to the channel. 20 subs off today's video. And I promise you, we'll have another video coming up very soon. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Bills News, and we'll get started with today's show. Could Conor McDermott be making a return to the Buffalo Bills? Welcome in to this edition of Bills Breakdown. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for stopping by. And Conor McDermott, a fascinating name, right? Been a while since we've talked about him in a Buffalo Bills uniform. But what about the idea of him potentially returning to upstate New York? Well, the folks at Bleacher Report, they are saying that the next move the Buffalo Bills need to make here this offseason is to sign Conor McDermott and make the reunion happen here in NFL free agency. And this comes at a fascinating time. We're quickly approaching June 1, which on the NFL calendar, that means the post-June 1 cuts are about to happen, where teams throughout the NFL are going to move on from certain players to cut salary and open up other roster spots to bring in more players. And now the idea of bringing in McDermott, getting some help on the offensive line. Let's see what Bleacher Report had to say of why they're suggesting this idea. The Bills can take a page from the Philadelphia Eagles all-season playbook. They need more insurance at offensive tackle. Four-time Pro Bowler Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown haven't missed much time over the last few years. Still, in a 17-game season, Buffalo should have an experienced veteran ready to go in case one or both miss extended time. Ryan Van DeMark and Tylen Grable have started in 3 games combined. McDermott could provide much-needed experience at both tackle spots in a second stint with the Bills. I don't think a reunion here is a bad idea at all for the Buffalo Bills. And as Bleacher Report put it, it's real simple. This is an insurance policy if you're the Buffalo Bills. I think we all can feel comfortable with how the Buffalo Bills offensive line looked in 2024 and how it's shaping out going into 2025. But even with that said, you look at potential injuries or things that could happen. I don't think personally, and some may disagree with me on this, that you have a ton of depth beyond your starters here. I think signing a guy like McDermott, as an example, you would feel much safer preparing for the worst if something were to happen there. And I mean, just think about it this way. What if Dawkins or Brown do go down and you have to turn to one of your backups? I don't think that's a situation that Bills fans would be too comfortable with if that were to arise of sorts. It's preparing for the worst to make sure that you are okay just in case, God forbid, something does happen with one of those guys there, that you're in a good position where you're prepared for that circumstance to make sure that you're A-okay if something were to happen, that you're in good shape as far as that goes. We'll talk more about McDermott. We'll go over his numbers, also what it would cost to potentially sign him in just a bit. But first, let's have you answer our pinned comment today. Your chance to be the GM here on Bills Breakdown. Should the Bills bring back Conor McDermott? You got 2 options here. Type S for sign, P for pass. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. You know, when we talk about these free agent signings all the time, there is a thought out there, okay, you know, what value does this player bring? Is the cost worth it? Are you going to get the return on investment? But as I look more into this idea of a return for Conor McDermott, I don't see anything to lose if you're Buffalo on potentially bringing him back. Let's tell you more about McDermott, a 2017 6th-round pick out of the University of California, Los Angeles by the Patriots. He was then released by the Patriots, went on to play for the Bills, the Jets, the Rams. He also made a return to New England. Decent amount of experience, 55 career games played with 17 starts And if we're going to be frank, when it comes to Conor McDermott, this is not a guy that you're asking by any stretch to be your starter. He's never been great. But on the flip side of that, he's never been bad either. And when you look at his PFF grades over the years, they've been pretty consistent in the same boat pretty much year over year when he's been on the football field. And the last time that we saw him play a decent amount, you go back to 2023 with the New England Patriots, in 6 games played, over 200 snaps, those grades are very good for a backup. Offensive grade of 67.8, run block grade of 68.0, pass block grade of 65.9. If those were the grades that he put up and was filling in and his name was called upon, you could live with that and you could make that work. Now, with that said, McDermott did miss all of 2024, so you have to wonder how healthy he potentially is and his playing shape and all that. I think all of that is a fair question. But you're not having to depend on him. You're not having to rely on him because this is not a significant role that would be asked of him within this Bills offense. But also because we did not see him play, and he, has never been that great of a player. That also means that he shouldn't cost too much either, that he should be a cheap signing that Buffalo would not have to potentially break the bank for. His market value, I think it's a deal similar to what he last had with the Los Angeles Rams, probably about a 1-year, $1.2 million deal. And when you look at Buffalo's cap space, I know they don't have a ton of money to spend, just about $2 million at this point in time, but they could make that work if they want to and add in that depth. Not to mention they're probably going to be moving on from some players when we get to the post-June 1 cuts anyway to open up some more cap space. We'll share our final thoughts on this idea here in just a moment. But first, who's the player the Buffalo Bills should sign at NFL free agency? If you had to give me one name, whether it's Conor McDermott or somebody else, weigh in the comments section and tell me what you think. Bottom line, this is all about the quarterback, number 17, protecting Josh Allen, defending Allen, protecting your biggest asset here. It's simply what it comes down to, is that Josh Allen is too good to afford to lose and allow him to get hurt of sorts. If you don't have the depth in the offensive line, then there's trickle-down effect, and that could certainly hurt Josh Allen and lead to injury if the offensive line isn't in the right place to do its job. You cannot afford to lose Josh Allen. If you lose Josh Allen, your season is effectively over at that point. So that's what this is all about for me, is making sure that Josh Allen's okay. And I think McDermott can help that cause in that sense. And there's a whole lot more good than bad of potentially signing him and bringing him back to Buffalo as far as I'm concerned. For continuing Bills coverage, subscribe now to Bills Breakdown, youtube.com/Bills News. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.